Well, hello there. So you're interested in a tale of kings and hardships, of heroes and villains, of monsters and treasure. Well, that sucks because we're nothing like that. Last week, a few friends and I started a Final Fantasy-based Dungeons & Dragons campaign. I wanted to record it all for you guys, but unfortunately OBS decided to update mid-recording, so I lost it. So you can think of this video as a prologue to what is to come. I wouldn't say it's necessary to enjoy the upcoming episodes, but it will give you a bit of insight to one of the worst and best first encounters I've ever had in any game. This tale begins in the town of Oshkal, where a festival is being held, celebrating a hero who slew, something 500 years ago or something with a magic spear. Reaver, our DM, will probably explain this again in the future, probably. Thousands of people gather during the time of festivities and fun, and use this event to bond with one another, meet new people, and usher in an era of peace. Among this crowd are our 5 quote-unquote heroes of this tale. We started off separated into 2 groups. The first group met on the road to the festival and decided to travel together. This party consisted of Drax Phoenix, a standoffish Al-Ra Dark Knight with a mysterious past. As literally all Dark Knights have, it's a prerequisite. Joined by Droa Gon, a Gria Red Mage. In her noble's outfit, she has an air of nobility. But is she really royalty? Following the 2 is a Moogle thief, known only as Puffball. Perhaps a cute name to cover up his darker tendencies? The second group consists of a Viera samurai by the name of Talvia. She doesn't like people too much, but loves Blitzball. Last but not least, there is Garrick, the Ronso Blue Mage, with a broken horn and a big heart. Quite silent, but learns quickly and leaps into action even faster. Mind you, the icons we use in the campaign are not what they actually look like. I should have put that on screen. Anyways, it's the day of the festival, so Droa decides that she wants to put on a show. So she clambers onto the stage and breathes a swath of fire into the air to attract some attention. People start to gather and look at the Gria woman with her wings spread out. This is where the bad rolls that would plague us all night began. Instead of impressing people, she set the local area on fire. And to try and cover this up, she spun with her wings out, attempting to do a dance, and fell off the stage. Garrick attempted to run and catch her, but was much too slow, and instead she face-planted onto the cement. Droa's next trick required a partner, so Talvia volunteered. Upon clambering onto the stage, Talvia decided to use a fake accent. Droa touched Talvia's shoulder for her magic trick, which quickly led to a misunderstanding. Talvia and her fake accent wanted to shout out molester to the guards because she became really nervous. Instead, it came out as Mole Star, leaving the guards with no idea why they were called over to the plaza and quickly separating. After all of this, our group of adventurers was approached by a prince with an extremely long name that I can't remember, so I dub him Voldy. That's close enough. Voldy told us we were an amusing bunch and invited us to come see the parade at the end of the festival. The 5 of us decided to attend the parade together. To pass the time, our Moogle Puffball gambled, lost, stole from the person he lost to, got caught, and then was let off the hook because he was mistaken for Talvia's child. Talvia was obviously not happy. Anyways, fast forward to the parade and everything is going swimmingly. There are tons of fireworks and lights being created by a group of black mages that sits at the rim of the city, and the floats are immaculate. The Prince Voldy even waved to us. Suddenly the sky began to darken. The performers slowly came to a halt as silence spread across the festival like a cold wind. Drax Phoenix, looking up at the sky, makes an observation only one who has been steeped in darkness could make. That's not good. Soon, fireballs shower the festival grounds. Monsters began to swarm the area, taking lives, one after another. The prince, for some reason, runs up to us and asks us for our help protecting the populace, despite the fact that he just saw us do the worst stage performance he's ever seen. But he also says he'll pay us, so we all willingly agree. We as players were excited for our first combat. Many of us had never played D&D before and couldn't wait to show off some heroic feats. This starts off with a bad roll of initiative, causing almost every monster to attack before us. It's an uphill battle from here, but we figure it's gonna be okay. First turn, a flying bat-like creature attacks Talvia, and natural 20 Talvia's blind. This immediately follows up with Drax and Garrick being blinded, so the fight hasn't even really started and 3 of us are blinded. And there are a ton of flying enemies that half of us can't even reach. To sum it up, in the end, Garrick got a few pokes in with his spear but was quickly knocked unconscious. Droa actually hit several of them with her fire breath, and took out a few, but was quickly bludgeoned and knocked unconscious. Drax, while he stood his ground, didn't really know how the Dark Knight class worked, and didn't use half of his skills, which caused him to go down more quickly than intended. Talvia found that all of the enemies in her vicinity were flying enemies and was essentially trying to kick spiked soccer balls at flying enemies with her eyes closed because she was still blinded. But she managed to fire off her limit break, which for all intents and purposes was a Kamehameha wave, but was soon knocked down to her knees. The only one left was Puffball, the Moogle, who decided his last action as everyone went down would be to hide inside a carcass of one of the fallen orcs. So with a high stealth skill that has little chance of failing, he climbs inside the guts of one of the fallen and uses it to hide. When his turn came around again, he burst from the corpse, covered in blood and screaming at the top of his lungs. He threw his last dagger in desperation at the last remaining enemy, and it missed completely, but he continued screaming anyways. At this point, the DM points out that it's his first time running Pathfinder, and set the enemy difficulty to nearly 2 times what it should have been for our first level party. Oops. A few guards finally round the corner, and their first sight is a Moogle in a sea of blood, screaming like a god of death, and a very confused zombie watching him from a few feet away. They take a moment to assess the situation before knocking arrows onto their bows and firing at the last remaining enemies. And they all missed. The DM was actually becoming concerned that he may have to start killing players at this rate, but eventually the guards stabbed the zombie to death and we all regained our consciousness. We ran to the exit on the western end of the city. At the end of the city was a chained-up spear that was the main attraction of the festival. It belonged to the hero who slew the darkness over 500 years ago, and was left here as a monument to their sacrifice. As we were about to leave, a tall knight in hulking black armor and a dark aura approached the spear. His presence itself brought everyone in the vicinity down to their knees, everyone except Talvia. Talvia, realizing she couldn't beat this foe, attempted to make an offering of peace. She rolled one of her 20 blitz balls towards the knight, and he just kind of ignored it as it rolled past him. And he took the spear from the ground and vanished. After this, we all regrouped outside the city, and that was basically the end of that session. Now, I imagine for some players, this would have ruined their night. They would have wanted to play their characters, they didn't get to because the DM messed up, and it just would have been a bad session for them. But honestly, we just couldn't stop laughing. The situation was so ridiculous. We found complete joy in it, and at the end of the day, isn't that what playing games is about? It's about having fun. So this is where the next session picks up at, and you guys can watch it either within a day or 2 of this episode coming out. Can't wait for you guys to see it. First combat is a little slow, but after that, our RP just turns into some hilarious bullshit that I guarantee you'll love. Anyways, hope you liked the video. See you next time. Raiden out.